respected sir and all dear friends. Today my presentation topic is Waiting for Godot as an absurd theatre. Today I will deal with in my presentation this topic: what is the theatre of absurd, example of theatre absurd, and main characteristic of the theatre of absurd, and then we can evaluate these features to justify the Waiting for Godot as a absurd play. First of all, we can get the meaning of what is the absurd theatre. The absurd theatre is known as the new theatre. This term and particular movement started in 1950, and the absurd means foolishness, senseless, opposed to reason, something silly and ridiculous. The theatre of absurd is commonly associated with the existentialism. Critic Martin Esslin coined the term in his essay, in his 1960 essay, The Theatre of Absurd. The myth of Sisyphus, which present on the stage the philosophy articulated by French philosopher Albert Camus in his essay The Myth of Sisyphus, in which he defines the human condition as a basically meaningless. Sisyphus defied the god and put the death in chains so that no human need to die. When God decided on his punishment for all eternity, he would have pushed a rock up mount upon a ridge, the top of the rock, and would roll down again. Here, Albert Camus, human life present the pointlessness and nothingness. Then we can say that what is called a reason for living is also an exultant result for dying. It's called in Albert Camus in Myth of Sisyphus. The mood of absurdist play is tragic comedy. Nothing is funnier than unhappiness. It's the most comical thing in the world. Is Edengin by Samuel Beckett says, and Estlin cites William Shakespeare as an influence of the accept of absurd drama. Here we can see the video on Myth of Sisyphus.
Since the Myth of Sisyphus is rather a long work and one of my personal favorites, I've decided to break it down into several videos so we can go through the whole thing thoroughly. Naturally, there's going to be a lot of citations in these videos, so I just write all the citations down for you in the description box. In this video, we'll be talking about an absurd reasoning. Camus starts this essay by bringing our attention to an intriguing and somewhat unusual start. He writes, "There is but one truly serious philosophical problem, and that is suicide." As we go on, you'll see why he is focusing on the matter of suicide right from the beginning. If your life is filled with despair and absurdity, and you see it as something deprived of all meanings, you might consider to commit suicide. He continues, "I see many people die because they judge that life is not worth living. I therefore conclude that the meaning of life is the most urgent of questions." For Camus, suicide is an individual act. He says, "We are concerned here at the outset with the relationship between individual thought and suicide. An act like this is prepared within the silence of the heart, as is a great work of art." This comparison makes me think of the movie Stay, where you run across sentences like these. How did he kill himself? He shot himself on the Brooklyn Bridge. He said it was the best artwork of the 19th century. Here's another phrase from the movie. An elegant suicide is the ultimate work of art. So, when does the bug to commit suicide get into us? It's when we start to think. Beginning to think is beginning to be undermined. It's only when you pause to think that you suddenly discover the absurdity in life. Dying voluntarily implies that you have recognized, even instinctively, the ridiculous character of that habit, the absence of any profound reason for living, the insane character of that daily agitation, and the uselessness of suffering. When this happens, and when your whole universe is divested of it,
then we can give the several examples of the theatre of absurd, like Harlan Pinter's Birthday Party, Edward Allegy, the Zoo Story, then Jean Genetti's The Balcony, and the Tom Stupper's Rosenstein's and Wilkinson Are Dead. Then we can discuss the characteristic of the theatre of absurd: meaningless of life, no wonder, no organized movement, lack of plot, elements of existentialism, very hard content, puzzle dialogue, nonsense language, character are stereotypical and archetypal, importance of repetition, absurd or unexplained ending, comic scenes, and different from traditional drama. This characteristic we can evaluate the Waiting for Godot as an absurd theatre. The first characteristic is meaningless of life. Here the absurd dramatist present the life is a meaningless and one that could simply and in casual laughter. This was reflected in the society of the time. It was because of the following reason, like mechanical nature of man of life, aliens, world, time and isolation. In the play Waiting for Godot, we can see the senseless activity by Vladimir and Estragon. Another, we can see the lack of plot. Here we can discuss the comparison between earlier video, right? There are some classical drama in like the Elizabethan drama is the well organized in the plot, beginning, middle, climax, and also like rising action and following action. There are also is the classic drama, but here we can see the theater of absurd. We can't find no beginning, climax and ending, some place and time, unexplained story, nothingness and happiness. And this characteristic of lack of plot in absurd theater is found in the Waiting for Godot. The comic scene, there are several comic scenes in the play, like a Song of Death of Dog by Vladimir, and the changing head scene by both the trams in the play. The nonsense language, the absurd dramatist, there are used the non-conventional language had failed man, and it was the indicate means of communication. The uselessness of language was used by the character of constantly they speak in lies, overuse and right experience. Like an example of Lucky speech in Act 1, quack quack quack, and his speech is very philosophical, but the some use of in this speech we can see the nonsense, unconventional language. Let's see in the speech in this video.
Given the existence as uttered forth in the public works of Puncher and Watman of a personal God. Quack, 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 quack.
Here the present the nonsense language and unconventional language by Lucky. So this type of language used by absurd dramatist in his play, and also we can see in Waiting for Godot. And another example of dialogues of Vladimir and Estragon make misunderstanding. Like this dialogue, Vladimir said, "Well, shall we go?" Estragon said, "Yes, let's go." But they do not move. The importance of repetition. Absurd play is a repetitive cycle structure. In Waiting for Godot, we can see that similar setting, derivatives, timing, day to moon rise, action like head sweeping, scene, similar act structure, same acts, ending, same dialogue. Like Estragon said, what do we do? What do we do now? Vladimir said, "Wait for Godot." Estragon said, "Oh, silence." And there are several complexity character of first character is who is God, man or God or man. And first step we can see the Pozo is a master and Lucky is a slave. And second step we can see the Pozo as a slave and Lucky is a master. And no female character in the play. The element of existentialism. First we can say that absurd theater question the existence of man. Absurdities believe in the godless world after World War II. The air is full of our cries. Second is human existence has no meaning and purpose. The mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but in finding some to live for. Here says by Freud Dostoevsky. And the different from traditional drama. Here in absurd play, no use of interesting plot, no sense of story, no use dream, fantasy and poetic language. So we can find this characteristic also in Waiting for Godot. and absurd ending. The absurd place unexplained hope, religion, nothingness, forgetfulness, purposelessness of man ending is not conclusion. And also we can see the waiting for Godot is ending with hope. So end of the we can say that this discuss end of the discuss we can say the waiting for Godot as an absurd theater. Thank you.